Hi, I'm Melissa. If you've experienced the death of a loved one, you know how profoundly earth-shattering that experience can be. Or maybe you have yet to lose someone in your life to death, and the thought of it scares you. Today, let's talk about why death is an inevitable but beautiful part of the human experience. People don't generally like talking about death. We're afraid to say dead, so we say passed away instead. We talk about losing someone or how they're gone, but we can't bring ourselves to admit the harsh realities of death. We talk around death, and yet there are beautiful works of art and poetry on the topic of death and what happens after death. Human bodies will, at some point, invariably cease to perform the functions required for life. The heart stops, the brain stops, the blood stops. There's only so much damage a body can take before it cannot fix itself, even if doctors intervene, and that person's life slips away. Then the sun comes up the next day, and the world keeps turning. But those who cared for them feel as though time has stopped as they grieve the loss of their loved one's presence in their lives. But why does it have to be this way? Was death a part of God's original plan? Did God intend for people to live only so many years before their bodies broke down and stopped working? No, God never intended for there to be suffering and pain and cancer and loss and ultimately physical death. These are all a part of creation's experience because sin entered the world. When God created the universe and everything within it, that creation was perfect. Death did not exist. God gave the first humans, Adam and Eve, freedom of choice and only one rule: don't eat from this one specific tree. He said, but from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat from it you will surely die. Satan, who had chosen disobedience to God long ago, tempted the world's first humans with this forbidden fruit, taking advantage of the fact that they probably didn't know what "you will die" even meant. They disobeyed the one rule God gave them, and immediately they were filled with fear and shame. Their fellowship with God had been broken. This disobedience caused a spiritual rift between the created and their holy, perfect Creator. This was the original sin. As a result, just as God had warned, death entered the world. They may not have died physically that day, but they died spiritually as soon as they disobeyed God, and their physical bodies would now begin deteriorating and eventually stop working. Every human being who has come after Adam and Eve has inherited that state of spiritual death, the sin nature, which is an innate desire to sin and the fate of a limited amount of time in our bodies. Today we live in a world with sin and death, but the story doesn't end there. Because God loves us so deeply, He has provided a way to defeat spiritual death through Christ's death and resurrection. Those who choose to accept this gift of spiritual life will enter God's eternal presence when their body dies. And when Christ comes again, He will defeat sin once and for all. There will be no more death of any kind. We don't need to fear dying because Jesus has already defeated death and overcome the world. Let's keep our minds on things above and focus on loving and serving Jesus as long as we live. We hope we've helped you understand why human beings eventually die and how we can choose an eternity with the Creator of the universe after our bodies have run their course. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. We answer questions like this every day, so visit 412teens.org to ask your own spiritual questions.